All right. Direct manipulation, again, let me read that again. It says that direct manipulation is a style of interaction which features a natural representation of tasks, objects, and actions, promoting the notion of people performing a task themselves, not through an intermediary like a computer. A direct manipulation system has the following features. First, the visibility of the objects of interest. So we have visibility is quite high in a direct manipulation system. Then there is a rapid but also reversible incremental actions. So you can have it provides for incremental actions, and then replacement of complex command syntax by direct manipulation of object of interest. So sometimes we can actually do a direct manipulation rather than just writing commands. So it gives a feeling that we are actually doing the action as if it was actually physical rather than giving a command to a computer. So that's a direct manipulation, and some more issues there. I think we can still read that. But the visual representation usually takes the form of a metaphor related to the actual task being performed. So sometimes it's actually more of metaphors than the task, so of course it's a combination of both. The metaphor, when we are doing that particular task, sometimes there will be some the naming or the symbols that are used are more of used metaphorically. So you might use the words that are similar to the words that we use in ordinary English. Most of the systems are right now based on the English language. So some words that are used in English may be used to depict the type of action that is required or is somebody is interested in doing. But otherwise, we also combine the actual doing to be almost as though we are operating the computer physically at the interaction or the interface. So well-designed direct manipulation systems tend to make the interaction enjoyable for the users. But this concept, of course, is good, but we have not been able to do a lot of it. So why are DM interfaces so enjoyable? So this type of interaction style can be very good for novices. So it says novices can learn the basic functionality quickly. Of course, with this concept, it can be very easy for people that are just learning to use a system or to use an application. So users can immediately see in their actions if the actions are furthering their goal. So it happens as though it's exactly the way one is attempting to do at the interaction. So we'll revisit this issue of the metaphors. So some of the metaphors, the words that are used metaphorically in some computer systems, interaction styles, words like file manager. So we talk about a file and the way it is used in Windows Explorer. This is, of course, mainly a Windows-based computer. So we talk about drag and drop, and we have done this process before. So drag and drop. So if you are doing a drag and drop, we do that with files and folders. You have maybe folder 1 and you want to copy something from folder 1 to folder 2. And you can just do what is called drag and drop, where we just, of course, you point with the mouse. Of course, this direct manipulation, most of it is, all of it is mainly based on graphical user interfaces. So you can use a mouse. You point at a file in one folder. You hold the mouse down and then you drag while holding the mouse down. You of course you hold a certain button for the mouse so that you can do the drag. You drag and then you drop to the next folder. And so it looks like you are doing that physically. So that's one of the examples of this concept of direct manipulation. But some of these direct manipulation concept is also about the words that are used for a certain process. The word that is used, although some of them may be confusing, we'll also visit that in a short while when it comes to metaphors. So we'll mention about metaphors in a short while. So for now, I think that example that is given about drag and drop is sufficient for now. But I think these are another one which is given here. When doing some drawings. So again, the way we draw, for example, you have a tool for drawing a rectangle. So the way we do the drawings sometimes is also a kind of direct manipulation, because you do it as if you're doing it physically. Sometimes there is even a tool called the pencil. Where it's like now you are using a pencil and you are drawing just the way you would draw with a physical pencil. So that's a kind of direct manipulation. What about playing computer games, like playing being one, you have a team, you are the one who is controlling a team in a computer game, and you know the way you can manipulate those the objects that represent the players and all that. So that's a kind of direct manipulation. So you are able to cause maybe the goalkeeper, the ball is thrown and the goalkeeper catches the ball, or you actually are controlling maybe the one who is supposed to be scoring, and you kick the ball and you either score or maybe it is captured by the goalkeeper of the other end. Well, computer games is also a kind of direct manipulation example. Then we have the graphical user interfaces, which I think these are quite familiar, so we don't have to say too many things about that. But again, so direct manipulation is quite easy for novices. But of course, if it is good for novices, it will be good for anybody else. But we are just trying to rate, especially for the novices, which of these interaction styles can make it easier for the novice to be able to quickly settle and be able to use a computer. But of course, we also, as we said earlier on, it's good to include some harder things if they sometimes make it moving fast in the tasks. We need to put those ones so that again, since of course these are people with different experiences, we should not also slow down the expert frequent user. We should include some things that are hard for the novice, but which they are okay for the expert or the expert frequent user, because maybe they make things move faster, and the expert is quite comfortable with them. So we need to include for the whole range of the categorization. So make sure that there are also some things that are quite easy for the frequent user to use, because it's okay for them. But again, make sure that you are taking care of the novice as well. So graphical interfaces, of course, these ones are very popular nowadays. They are all over. Nowadays, every device is based on the graphical user interface. But of course, as you said, they are mixed up with others as well. But graphical user interfaces, I think these are familiar field with the most of us, where we have the applications displayed in form of windows, and there's a lot of icons, small graphics that represent commands. So instead of typing your command, you now point on some symbol or some a kind of a graphic, a kind of a picture that represent a certain action. So if you want to delete, so there is maybe a a button. Of course, we are more familiar with the concept of buttons, and most of the icons are represented. Of course, they are buttons which we point and click, but we just call them icons. Of course, there are menus as well. So graphical user interfaces have icons, but they also have menus. And then, of course, you need to have the pointing device, which is a mouse, which you use now to point either to select from the menu or to select a certain icon for the action that need to be handled. Then together with that, before I come to Fitz Law, we'll mention a bit about Fitz Law, but let's look at the concept of metaphors, which is mainly associated with the direct manipulation, but also with the graphical user interfaces. We use the concept of the metaphors a lot. So metaphors, as it says, metaphors convey an abstract concept in a more familiar and accessible form. So metaphors, they convey an abstract concept in a more familiar and accessible form. A metaphor is a figure of speech in which an expression is used to refer to something that it does not literally denote in order to suggest a similarity. So metaphors are widely used to make use of users' existing knowledge when learning new computer systems. So when we learning new computer systems, the metaphors can help a lot, and that is what we are talking about when we are talking about especially direct manipulation. But this is also a concept that is very popular with graphical user interfaces as well. We use the metaphors a lot. So metaphors could be in terms of an action, as it's done in direct manipulation, or it could in terms of just the label you use. The label you use to label a certain icon, or to put as the label for a certain menu item. So we use the metaphors a lot. One of those is the word desktop. So we talk about the desktop of the computer. So that's using the word desktop metaphorically, because we don't have a desk at the computer. But we say, oh, this is the desktop, because of course that means that there is a desk and you are talking about the top of the desk. So we are using the word metaphorically. And then this other one is a good example, search engine. The search engine. So the search engine, we talk about things like Google, but of course we have quite a number of other search engines. So we say Google is a search engine. Now, you see the word engine, the word engine. Of course, we are using that word metaphorically. And we have very many other metaphors. For example, when we use the word there are some, when we do deleting and copying, we use the words cut, copy, and paste. And the word cut, of course, it is used metaphorically because, of course, there is no cut. You're talking about something that is physical. You have something that is sharp, and you do the cutting. Maybe you are cutting a tree or something like that. So we're using the word there metaphorically. So the metaphor may be used either to label items or to label an action. Of course, the action is not really labeled. It's actually the way you do an action, the way you process an action may be also be done in such a way that you are metaphorically doing as if you are doing it physically, the actual action you are doing. And we have seen, of course, like when we use the command cut and paste, and you use the word the command for that is called cut. If you check later on where you did the cut, you know that item is completely removed. So it's of course it may not be very, very clearly expressed, but there is a relationship. Maybe the word cut, the better one could be move. In the past, the word move was used, especially with the command language. The word move was used when you are kind of taking an item from one point and to another one, so that it does not appear at the original place that it was before. All right, so that's about metaphors. I just wanted to highlight, but read the whole text here about what are the benefits of interface metaphors. And of course, there's some problems there. Maybe I can highlight one problem that metaphors might create is that it may break conventional cultural rules. It may break conventional cultural rules. So, and of course, sometimes it can create a problem. While whoever is designing this may mean it for good, but since the computer is used in different, all over the world, of course, so where it was designed, it may mean, it may be very clear to the users there. And of course, most of the factories and manufacturing these computers that we are using all over, based either in US, Europe there, of course, and now we have in the Asian countries. But I assume that a computer was designed in US. So that's a certain cultural context. And so the ones that they are going to use for these commands and all these metaphors are likely to be based on how it is used culturally within that particular context. So when it comes to Africa, sometimes it may be confusing. Now, why are they calling these, this particular word? Because for maybe an African context, maybe a Kenyan context, the way the word is used metaphorically there in the US may not exactly match with how we use it in a real life in the Kenyan context. So sometimes it can be confusing. And some examples I use here, for example, recycle bin. Now this is based on the Windows computer. The Windows computer is the one which has an icon called the recycle bin. And this recycle bin, you see the bin, is meant for putting. Now in ordinary life, this bin, it's used in terms of the litter bin, litter, where you put, things that drop and you put them together, maybe paper, the litter. Anything that you want to create a clean environment. So, of course, anything that is not meant to be part of this, the environment, you put it together, you put it in the litter bin. So this is used in that concept. But then now, this bin, you find that this icon is normally at the desktop. And this is not very familiar in an African sense, and I think also probably in an American sense, it doesn't make sense that you have put the recycle bin at the top of a desk. It doesn't make sense. But again, that whoever did the designing may not have thought very clearly about that. So they just created an icon and called the recycle bin, and that's okay. But normally it appears at the desktop. Again, there is no problem with that, except culturally, it doesn't seem to match. You don't get a litter bin and you place it on a desktop, a desk where, of course, a desk, in this case, we mean is a place for working, is a place for working. So how can somebody come to be working and on top of the desk, there is a litter bin or something like that? So we're saying just some of the problems associated with metaphors. So that's just an example. And we have a few more that I will let you read at your own time. Please read all these at your own time. Now, let me go back to Fitz Law because it is more associated with the concept of the graphical user interface. And just highlight a few, just something. Of course, this is one of the laws. Actually, this we should have mentioned also when we are looking at the theories. And the Fitz Law simply talk about a very simple concept. It says Fitz Law is a mathematical model that predicts how long it will take to point to a target. So how long it will take to point to a target. So it's a mathematical model. So it is meant to be like a formula to calculate that, how long it would take to point to a target. So it takes into account where you are currently pointing relative to the target, how far the target is, and how big the target is. So simply put, it says that essentially Fitz Law states that big targets at close distance are reached faster than small targets at long range. I think the best way to bring an analogy here is in the game of there is a game called the game of darts, throwing darts. And of course, normally there is the object that they use there is a circular ring where you throw the dart. And one of the points there that is most the most valuable point is called the bull. You want to hit the bull. The bull, I think the bullseye or something like that. Sorry, I think I'm not very familiar with the terminology there. I think we call it the bull's eye. So you want to throw the dart and hit at the bull's eye. So when you throw the dart, that kind of an experience. So if the target is a big and very close, you could easily hit the target. But if it is far, that is one of the challenges. If it gets far, it starts becoming more challenging to hit the target. And once if it is far and also small, so that's the concept that Fitz Law is trying to describe here. So essentially, Fitz Law states that big targets at close distance are reached faster than small targets at long range. So I think you look at more of the discussion here. Unfortunately, this document does not provide the formula. There's actually a formula based on the Fitz Law that can be used to calculate how quickly, how easily you are able to hit a target. Actually, it is in terms of how easy it is. How easy is it to hit your target? All right, so that's a Fitz Law, and finally we have the last method of interaction is a natural language. So with the natural language here, we mean that speaking to the computer and then expressing your instruction to the computer. Remember, in programming, we talk about programming is a list of instructions which you use to tell the computer what you want it to do. So you write the program, and those lines of code are instructions that tell the computer to do something. So he's saying now, instead of writing code or having all these other approaches of using a mouse and pointing at icons and commands, instead of using that to tell the computer the action that you want to do, you now talk to the computer naturally. And so this is what we are calling natural language approach. And so natural language approach, of course, is still under research. Of course, we have started seeing a bit of that is coming up. We do have, especially in the search engine, Google has incorporated something like that. And of course, there are other systems that are trying to develop that as a communication approach. With Google, I know you can have, there is a feature they do at the search engine where you normally type your text when you want to search for certain concept. There is also a feature there for if your system has a mic, then it can you can talk to the computer when you open the Google for searching. You can talk to the computer instead of you typing what you need to search. you have to talk to the computer. You just talk to the computer, and it is able to quickly translate what you are saying into text. So of course, it takes the concept of translating. So you talk to it, it translates what you are saying and puts it into text. But of course, you see, you still have to press the enter button for it to actually do a search. And so of course, you notice that it is still not complete. You talk the command, yes, you talk the text that you want the concept to search for, and then you press the enter button. So if the application is activated and you have a mic, your computer has a mic, then of course you can talk to the computer that way. So that's a kind of an application of this concept of a natural language. But natural language has its own challenges, which I explained here, and also some a summary of advantages and disadvantages that this system can bring. So one of them is allows users to communicate with their system naturally. It's an advantage. It can reduce or eliminate the need for keyboards. Great for those with poor keyboard skills. And once it is more accurate at interpreting speech, commands may be able to be spoken faster than they are typed. So some advantage with this system could be there. Of course, as we said, it's already starting to come up, but we are not yet there. So those are very, very good advantages. And of course, if this was possible, of course, then I realize this can be for the novice user. It is something that they don't even need to learn anything, because they just talk to the computer the way they talk to people. They don't have to learn the commands at all. But well, there is some challenges which are discussed in the main text here. And one of those is the concept of ambiguity. So it's given somewhere here. I'm trying to locate the text just for highlighting. So let me just get some of the challenges. Okay, so one solution to one of the issues is the concept of ambiguity, all right? So ambiguity is quite a major challenge. Ambiguity of what one is saying. When we say, like now, of course, if you are talking in English, one of the challenges that other people have when talking English is that we may not always say the words as they are. They should sound, properly. For maybe an English, somebody that is just naturally English speaking. But then, so that will be one of the challenges. So one of the challenges we are saying is what language does this computer understand? Assuming it is English, and many of us can speak English and we can understand, but when it comes now to speaking, the actual way that the word should be pronounced, that would be one of the challenges. That's what we are calling the ambiguity. Will the computer be able to understand all these ambiguities? So when I say maybe hen, the word hen in a cuckoo, hen. Now, when somebody else is trying to say the same word, it may not sound the same, and yet we are saying the same thing. So the issue that, so how does the computer relate with any of the differences that may be there between how person A pronounces the word hen as compared to person B? So which one makes it sound like what it should be to the computer? So ambiguity is a major challenge in dealing with this issue of developing interaction using natural language. But of course, there are a few other things that are said here, which I want the student to read. So make sure that you read this portion thoroughly so you can grasp the various challenges that are mentioned within this text as far as developing interaction using natural language is concerned. So those are the various interaction styles that are available or are being developed, and their advantages and disadvantages, and how they relate to the user profiles of a novice, knowledgeable user, and expert users. So which one helps each of these categories to interact best with the computer, or at least to be able to accomplish the task they want to accomplish at the computer. Now, for today, I will again not extend our discussion to the full time of the class. You allow me to attend to some urgent work that I'm trying to accomplish, but you still have some time which you can use to attend to is a discussion forum which is based on this particular topic. So look at that before you log out. Complete that as an activity for this session before you leave. That would be very, very good. So, but is there a question or a point of clarification that you like the lecturer to attend to? And yes, I can see some of you are also bringing out some more words and concepts that might be quite a challenge for the computer to understand. So when you come, if you are using a natural language to interact with the computer, some of the other cases that may be a challenge to the computer as far as different users are concerned. So when you use, talking about unga, the flour there. So yes, we pronounce the words differently, and that could be that is one of the challenge that developers will have when they want to build these natural language interaction. And maybe some of you, when you are together, you might actually try to talk to the Google search field and see if you which one it will whose pronunciation it will interpret correctly. I think that would be a good exercise. Go and talk to the Google search engine. I think most of the computers nowadays have a mic. Of course, the mic, we don't mean a physical mic. We mean that the system already has an inbuilt mic so that it can capture your sound when you speak around the computer. It can capture that sound, and if you want, you can record it. Normally, again, there is a recording software. So I mean, you can do that as an exercise and see whose word will it interpret correctly. So you are suggesting some words that could be hard for the computer to know everybody's pronunciation. Flour, that is from Baraka. Jacob is also trying another one. Those two words, they sound so much the same. When you talk about the dye for color, the dye, and the word dye for dying, becoming dead. So which one will the computer use when you try to say those? So sometimes it's not even a challenge of pronunciation. It may be some words like those ones that Jacob is suggesting there, that you're saying die. They sound the same, but they are different words. Well, what about lip and rip? Lip, ruka. Is a lip is kuruka, and there is the rip, the one for picking items, rip or harvesting. Again, but of course that one the challenge is saying the L and the R. If you don't say that clearly, then the computer may not know which word you mean. Do you mean the one of L or the one of R? So there are quite many reasons why it's going to be quite a challenge in developing this natural language. But well, it is already starting to come up. So the developers will just have to come out and be able to deal with the issues of the words that are too close in terms of their pronunciation, or how to do with the people that are trying to pronounce the same word, but they don't pronounce it the same way. Okay, what about now? I'm not very sure about the audio there. Hamza is saying you can't hear. Is it okay now, Hamza? Because we started by testing our system. All right, yes, so it's okay. Thank you for that confirmation. So, as I said, I don't intend to extend this unless there is a question that you want to raise. You can type a question at the chat, or you can actually use your mic. I think the mic, let me confirm that, okay, the mic hadn't been turned off. So if you want to use a mic to ask a question or to make a comment, or you want to type it at the chat area. So I'm waiting for that. For now, I'm going to remove the screen share. But again, I'm also encouraging, make sure that you visit the forum for this particular session. This is topic 3. So we should visit the area for topic 3 and find the forum discussion question for this particular session, and do a response. Leave a response before you log out. Yes, any question or comment? So we should be closing in a short while. Yes, so unfortunately I forgot to start the recording in time. So this record, I have done some recording, but it is not capturing many of the interaction styles. I think it starts with the graphical user interface, I think. So you'll find a video there that does not have some of the what we had said, some of the things that we said earlier in the discussion. So sorry for that. Yes, Baraka is making a comment that you think that we are all novice users with regards to different systems. Yes, you are seeking a clarification on that. Yes, I think I agree with you, Baraka. So when we say expert, it doesn't mean that you are expert all round, because here we have a number of things. One is just the computer itself. When, like, for example, somebody who is starting to use the computer the very first time, they have to learn how to use a mouse, how to use a keyboard, and many other things. But even later on, when they are now okay with the computer in terms of the mouse and the keyboard, again, now they're actually using of a system. So like now, if you're told, okay, you want to be, you want to grow into a database administrator, you see now there, you may not have learned a database system before, so it is brought to you there. And of course, now at that point, you are a novice for that. You may have used the computer a lot. You know most of the issues about the mouse and the keyboard. You are okay with it. But now, when it comes to a new system like a new database system, you have noticed you are just learning how to operate a database system. At that point, of course, you are a novice at that level. So, but as you continue, again, you now get to the levels where you are quite familiar with the functionalities of that system, etc. So I agree with you. We are actually novices at different times. All of us novices at different times. So that's a correct position, yes. Yes, and Simiu is actually responding to that, yes, it is true. It all depends with the type of the system one is interacting with. And I agree with that, Jacob. Yes, like when the case of phones is very, very much alive in this concept, because many times you keep on changing phones for different reasons. Maybe sometimes it's just that maybe a phone that I have been using is no longer functioning in one way or the other. Maybe the battery is no longer charging properly, and I just feel like instead of looking for a battery, I just go for a new computer. I mean, a new phone all over. Sometimes you feel that no, now I want maybe a phone that has a better camera, so you leave the one which you've been using, you want to buy another one. So we find this, especially with the phones. You buy a new phone, and sometimes everything looks so different, and so at that point you are a novice. You've been using maybe a phone for a long time, but sometimes you find that you are a novice, and you're trying now to learn. What do I press, when, where is it? First of all, where is the function for calling, maybe dialing a number? Where is the function for maybe the camera? And sometimes you have to take some time to learn that. So initially you are a novice, and then slowly you continue to grow. You become a knowledgeable user, or what is called the knowledgeable or intermittent user, and then you continue to grow, and at some point you reach the point of expert user. Unfortunately, sometimes the phones, sometimes you only reach that level of knowledgeable user, intermittent user, and rarely are we able to get to the level of a frequent user. Sometimes by the time you are getting to the level of expert user with your phone, you probably are buying another phone for some reason. But anyway, that sometimes is the case. And yes, and Jacob is also sharing some more comments there. Thank you for that contribution, that especially for Android and the Apple phone. But Jacob, the only issue there, you would want to highlight the issue of Android, because Android is used by all these many phones across the companies. But yes, the Apple phone can be quite a challenge. But yes, maybe you're also saying that Android phones, of course, of course, the main thing, I think I get your point, because the phone is actually based on the Android. So I agree with you. So the Android phones, they can be quite a challenge. But of course, the companies may also introduce their own issues that may make learning how to use a new phone quite a challenge. It may take quite a while before you get to know more, around your phone. So thank you for those comments. They are quite enlightening. All right, so kindly visit the portal and complete the forum. It's just quite simple. Nonetheless, it is based on the natural language as an interaction style. So visit there, complete that. But otherwise, for the lecturer presentation, I think that is enough for today. But let me also highlight something about our classes. We have missed quite a number of classes. Last week, because of the challenges that we faced. No, not last week, but the other week we faced a challenge trying to do our cut one on the system, and it was supposed to be the cut week. So we lost that particular session. Then the other one last week, of course, we had a class, but because I'm trying to catch up with a few important details, we are not able to use the whole time. So as we continue, we will need to look for some sessions to do some makeups so that we can catch up, because we are approaching the end of the semester very, very fast. And of course, our hope as a university is that the exams for this semester will be done. At least the university is doing the best it can to make sure that it is possible for the exams for this semester to be done within the semester. And more, of course, obviously, they will be online. I'm sure some of the challenges that we are noticing as we continue to do different evaluations, cards, and other coursework through the system. Of course, the management is noticing where the issues need to be corrected here and there. But we are hoping that by the end, towards the end, when the exams are due, that many issues will have been dealt with, and we should be able to do the exams for this semester successfully. So because of that, therefore, we need to make sure that we catch up with our syllabus so that we are not caught up by the time the exams are supposed to be done. So I will be checking with the class when we can put some time for the makeups to help us to catch up. So otherwise with that, now before the end of the week, I will have posted the assignment 1 that is actually overdue. I need to post the assignment 1. So it should, I am expecting that I should be able to do that before the end of the week. So you'll be reminded, of course, you should be checking. Normally, I post the assignments at the section above where we have topic 1 area, so that it is easier to reach it. So it will probably appear around that particular space. So otherwise for today, I think that is enough. I want to wish you a great evening ahead of you. So God bless you and have a good evening.